Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today I am going to do something that I have never done before, but it's something that I have had requested time and time again. I'm going to do a top 10 list, and in fact, I've had this question proposed to me so many times over the last few years since my channel has gained a little bit of popularity. I've had a lot of people asking me to do this, and I figured finally I will. I'll do a top 10 of my favorite Mattel figures that were released in the year of 2023. I know, it's a common thing for many channels to do a top 10 of things they like at the end of the year, so I figured I would do one with the Mattel line, and then if that goes pretty well and the video does alright, I might do a top 10 figures overall that are excluding Mattel. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This is a Mattel Jurassic World or Jurassic Park, whatever you want to call it, video only. It's only my favorites from them for this year, and again, I would do a different video with everybody else. I don't know why I would separate those. It just seems like there's just too much that Mattel releases to be able to include them with everything else. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this was a very hard video to make, because if you actually go back through the year and take a look at what Mattel has released, they had a lot of really good stuff, so it was definitely hard to iron it down to only 10. And it's of course important to keep in mind that this is just my personal favorites. This isn't what I would say is the best of the year that everybody should think is the best. It's just what I felt like were my top 10 favorite releases from Mattel for the year of 2023. So we start the list at number 10, obviously, which is the gigantic Tracker's Elasmosaurus. In my opinion, the best marine reptile Mattel has released so far. Sporting a gorgeous and highly detailed appearance, this certainly resembles the species pretty nicely while still containing a movie monster style look. It has really nice paint apps as well, which is definitely a great thing. The tones of color used on it, I think, look great for the species and is very appealing to the eye. It also has a fun action feature and an impressive size on top of everything, so you can easily see why this is one of my favorites for this year. Coming in at number 9, we have the 93 Classic Glider Escape Set. If you're around my age, then the original Jurassic Park toy line probably means a lot to you. They're without a doubt the best dinosaur toys I owned growing up and will always hold a special place in my heart. So when Mattel announced the 93 Classic line, I was beyond hyped. This set is one of my favorites, I think, from the line overall because it's just so fun. It features an Ian Malcolm figure with a glider, hence the name of the set, and that instantly has a strong Jurassic Park toy line charm to it, and you combine that with the addition of the very Kenner-like baby Triceratops and the awesome old school look and feel of that Dilophosaurus, and you've got yourself a winner. Number 8 is the Hammond Collection Metriccanthesaurus, which no surprise that Hammond Collection stuff would be showing up on here, but there is just something about this figure I really love. The fact that it's a Hammond Collection release has a good bit to do with it, of course, but sporting all of that beautiful articulation we know and love, as well as the fact that it's a species that was present in the original Jurassic Park that we never got to actually see in the film. I remember as a kid going crazy when I saw the species listed as Nedry stole the embryos, and the figure itself is one of my favorites, I think, from the Hammond Collection overall, as it just looks so much better sculpt-wise than any version of the species that has come before it, and it also has some really fun coloration to it, an incredibly striking look when it comes to the very cool color scheme they had chosen, although just like everyone else, I think I probably would have been happy to see it with this coloration instead. Next up at number 7, we have the Legacy Collection Metriccanthesaurus. Honestly, I can't see many people not including this one on their list. It's that one sauropod species that I think the fan base has been harassing Mattel to make since the first large sauropod was released. I mean, it's so iconic to the Lost World, and it has one of the most brief appearances, which really tells you a lot about the impact this dinosaur had on the fans of the Lost World Jurassic Park. And Mattel absolutely knocked this one out of the park as well. The sculpt, in my opinion, looks pretty much exactly as the dinosaur did in the film, and even though I wouldn't say the paint perfectly replicates the on-screen version, it's as close, I think, as we're probably going to get in toy form. Not to mention, it is absolutely gigantic, definitely one of the largest Mattel figures to date. Number 6 is one that I feel like some people may be confused by, like how this figure can be higher on my top 10 than marvels like the Metriccanthesaurus is impressive, but I'm going to go with the Camouflage and Battle in Dominous Rex. I just really like this one. The sculpt looks great, and even better than their older Indominus figures. The size is nice and convenient, as it's a bit smaller than the older ones as well. The paint is nothing really to brag about, but the action feature is crazy cool. The light up effect, giving it that camouflage, again in quotation marks, camouflage effect, just looks so impressive and helps to make this figure a pretty massive standout, as far as I'm concerned anyway, for this year. My number 5 has the Hammond collection coming back again. Not a surprise, since the Hammond collection is the best thing Mattel has going in my opinion. But this time we've got the Irritator. Some people were a little upset about the release of this one because it's not a canon species. It's not something we've seen in the franchise before, and they really wanted to see not something we've seen on screen anyway, and they really wanted to see the Hammond collection run through all of the species we've at least seen on screen before trailing off, but you can't dare deny how impressive this figure is, with numerous different Irritator releases out and every single one looking significantly different from the other. I think Mattel really nailed it with this one. The design of the Hammond collection version is the best looking version overall, if you ask me, and of course the articulation and really nice paint scheme. And of course, paint apps also help to push this one up pretty high on my list. Number 4 is a fan favorite for sure, as we finally got that larger Triceratops we had been asking for. Yes, it is the Habitat Defender Triceratops. Mattel gave us so many Triceratops over the years that it absolutely has to be one of the most released species in the Jurassic World line. We have numerous versions, numerous sizes, repaints, slight gimmick changes, minis, snap squads, pop-ups, the list goes on and on. The one thing we never got was a Triceratops with a decent size, and considering the species, that's kind of surprising. It is a pretty darn large ceratopsian. Mattel thankfully delivered on that larger version this year, and they did it in brilliant fashion. Not only did we get a drastic increase in size, but we also got a brand new sculpt with a near perfect resemblance to the original Jurassic Park Triceratops, which is one of the many reasons I fell in love with this the moment I laid eyes on it. Not to mention an articulated jaw, which even the Hammond collection version was lacking. Things then became quite difficult at this point for me to place the final 3, because they all could easily have taken the number 1 slot, but I tried to place them based off of how much I enjoy them. So for number 3, we may have the most impressive Mattel release for the entire year. Not exactly my number 1, but probably the most impressive, as we have the Hammond collection Brachiosaurus. I feel like you could see this one making the list probably from about a mile away, but the largest Hammond collection release we've got and possibly will ever have, the Brachiosaurus, is a sight to behold. First of all, it's gigantic, but it sports all of the impressive articulation we would expect from a Hammond collection release. It also has really beautiful paint apps as well, which helps to plant this one a little bit higher on my list than others, and of course another spot on sculpt, really capturing the beauty of this dinosaur. It would be actually quite hard to even find another articulated dinosaur figure out there anywhere that can compete with how visually impressive this one is. Number 2 is one I know there will be people who won't agree with me on, but I'm choosing the 93 Classic Red Rex. As I said earlier, the Jurassic Park toy line is just so iconic and special to so many people, and the one figure that I would say was the face of the Kenner Jurassic Park toy line was their Red Rex. That was my go-to toy growing up, and that one figure I played with more than any other. There was just something so magical about a rubber real feel dinosaur toy that was so highly detailed and quite large. And then you fast forward 30 years and we've got a brand new version from Mattel with those same beautiful reddish tones and another round of real feel skin. The nostalgia is through the roof with this one, even including an action feature that was borrowed directly from the Kenner Lost World Jurassic Park Bull Tyrannosaurus Rex, with the ability to swallow prey and pull them out of the stomach. Mattel even went and included some roars on the figure, and the roars are activated by pushing a button hidden under the skin on the back, near the hip region, which is also very Kenner-like. I knew this one was going to be high on my list, and honestly, it would have probably made the #1 slot for me if it weren't for Mattel busting out possibly my favorite figure they've ever made, which brings me to #1, the Hammond Collection Carnotaurus. I may be a little biased here because my favorite dinosaur of all time is Carnotaurus, but then again, this is my top 10 list, so the figure sits exactly where it should. I would say it's probably the single most screen-accurate sculpt that they've created, and has improvements all around for the Hammond collection. Things we have been aching for, like better proportions, especially in the feet, but also new, much better looking teeth and improved glass eyes, although I think the glass eyes still need a little bit of work. But this figure serves as a true turning point for the Hammond collection moving forward. It also has beautiful articulation, of course, and an impressive paint application that definitely replicates the on-screen version way better than we've seen before. This Carnotaurus is the ultimate when it comes to the Jurassic World version. So that is my top 10 for 2023 when it comes to Mattel, and I can assure you that was a very hard list to make. There were so many more that I loved and would have really wanted on my list, but just barely got pushed out, which really says a lot for Mattel. The fact that they could have so much good stuff without any kind of major film or show out to go with, is really quite spectacular in my opinion. So now on to 2024. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think of the video, if you enjoy these top 10 lists, if you'd like to see more, and also what you think your top 10 from Mattel would be for the year. And also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.